What kind of kids are you raising, sir? How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Joe Biden's daughter, Ashley Biden, and her diary that has been confirmed by a story from the New York Times. And I'll link to that story in the description box below so you can see it for yourself without taking my word for it. Now, there's a few things we got to talk about. First things first, as I said from the very beginning, what kind of kids are you raising, sir? I mean, you got your daughter with this crazy diary. There was all kind of weird stuff in there talking about drugs and possibly being abused by her dad, maybe allegedly. There's all kind of stuff in there. Then you have Hunter Biden's laptop and it's crack cocaine and young girls and all types of weird stuff on that. What kind of kids are you raising? You know what they say. I guess the old proverb, you shall know the tree by the fruit that it bears. I mean, clearly something's wrong with Joe and something's wrong with his kids too, okay? Now, some are going to say, oh, leave the kids alone. These people are in their 30s and 40s and 50s, okay? Like, they're older than I am, and I got salt and pepper right here. So let's not play the whole, oh, they're kids game. If they're kids, then I'm a whole toddler right now, and I'm not Goo Goo Gaga right in front of you, but I digress. The whole point is that something's wrong with these kids. Also, second thing, the timing of this, it can't really be ignored. We just had Hunter Biden's laptop confirmed, like 2 or 3 days ago? Now, all of a sudden, we're getting Ashley Biden's diary confirmed. I mean, why is this happening right now? Is it happening because they don't want it to impact the midterms? Because these things could come out right around midterm time. Understand this. The laptop and the diary both came out like right around October, November of 2020, like right on the eve of the election. It would have most certainly impacted the election. So I think they're trying to get out ahead of it right now to prevent some kind of October surprise. That's my opinion. That's what I think. But regardless of what I think and what I feel, the timing of it is most certainly interesting to say the least. Now, let's get into it. First of all, the diary itself, I won't get too deep into detail. If you want to see more from the diary, I'll link to some excerpts in the box. But basically, the diary had a lot of troubling things in it from Ashley Biden. She's talking about drug abuse and how she was showering with her dad and it seemed kind of appropriate, which it is. I mean, if you're not a toddler, a little baby or something like that, getting piggyback rides and stuff, you have no reason to be in a shower or a bath or anything like that with your parents. You just don't have any reason to, okay? If you're a little baby or a toddler, I understand. But if you are of showering age and you're not just taking baths anymore, you're taking the shower, if you're like 8, 9, 10 years old, there's no reason for 8, 9, 10-year-old girl to be in the shower with her father at the same time. There's no reason for that to be happening. So yes, if that did happen, Ashley, it is inappropriate, and your creep father is as inappropriate as we think he is, right? So that's not your fault if that happened to you, just to be 1000% real. But I'll move on. There were quite a few things in that diary, and it most certainly would have made Joe Biden look bad because, again, what kind of kids are you raising? If you can't even raise your own kids properly, how are you going to lead the nation? And we see what he's done in just 1 year. Inflation is crazy. They're trying to go to World War III, all types of weird stuff going on. He's going in front of the podium. He doesn't know what's up or down or left or right or heads or tails. He's just combobulated. He doesn't really know what's happening. So, yes, that would have made sense in context, right? But I'll move right along. Now, the question you may have is, how was the diary acquired? Because remember, the allegation last year is that Project Veritas stole it. Because remember, the federales raided Project Veritas's, I think they have an office in New York City, Manhattan somewhere. They also raided James O'Keefe's house and then someone else's. It might have been Spencer Mead's, I'm not really sure. But they actually raided their facilities over this diary that belonged to Ashley Biden. And they didn't say that it was hers right then, but it's like, okay, if you got the feds raiding your spot over a diary, it's clearly real, okay? You don't have to say it. You don't have to confirm it, but come on. The feds are not going to raid your crib over some little girl's scribbles and drawings or an adult's diary if it's not important, okay? Now, the allegation was Project Veritas stole it. That's why they have it. but they didn't really say how they stole it or why they stole it or what happened. As it turns out, from what I'm reading on a New York Times article, which again would be in the box, Project Veritas didn't steal it. Actually, nobody really stole it technically. Here's what they say happened on New York Times. So let's go back to June 2020. Ashley Biden was living in Delray Beach, Florida with a friend of hers. I'm not sure if it was a romantic acquaintance or what, but it was a male friend. Or she was living with him or staying in his house. I'm not really sure because it might have been a rental property. But anyway, she's staying in the house. And this is right around the time when Joe Biden clinches a nomination to become the Democratic Party's nominee to run for president. So she had been staying there while she was recovering from addiction. She leaves in June 2020 to go back to Philadelphia, that area, which is where they're from. Wilmington, that's like in the Philly metro area. She goes back there, and then she leaves a bunch of her belongings at the house. She leaves a diary and a few other things like in the bag or something. And then she said she'll be back in the fall to retrieve all these items. So she leaves, and then another person comes into the house, a single mom with 2 kids. And she tells the former boyfriend, I'm not sure, again, if she lived with the guy or if he was just there because it was rental property. But the former boyfriend of this person had owned the house, and she lived there saying, hey, I don't have anywhere to go. I got these 2 kids. I don't have any money. I need to stay here for a while. So she did that. And in the meantime, she's in the house. And of course, she looked around and she found the diary. Not really sure where she found it, but it was somewhere in the house. She finds the diary and she contacts a friend of hers that is apparently a conservative just the same as she is. They're both quote unquote Trump supporters, according to what the article says. That could be misleading. You could be a conservative person, or you may not like Joe Biden and you want to vote for the other guy. Not really sure. But regardless of what happens, she calls a friend of hers who has quote unquote anti-Biden stuff on his social media. So they get together, and the plan is that they wanted to sell the diary to somebody. So then the guy she contacts somebody else who has an end with a Donald Trump Jr. fundraiser in Florida. So they go to a fundraiser where Trump Jr. is at, and they're showing the diary to people in the fundraiser, allegedly. Now, one of the people that were there, I think it might have been the fundraiser organizer. That person's, I think it might have been daughter. They contact Project Veritas. That's how Project Veritas get involved. So fast forward a little bit, the girl who had the diary, the single mom, and her male friend, they go to New York City to meet with Project Veritas, and they bring the diary. Now, Project Veritas went to buy it for $40,000, allegedly. They did wind up buying it, but they didn't actually publish it. It was the National File, kind of an obscure conservative-leaning website. They put it out there. Project Veritas did not publish it. And the thought process is that someone from PV leaked it to the National File to get it out there to the public. That's the allegation. But we don't know how that happened. But regardless of what, Project Veritas didn't actually steal it. All they did was just say, okay, you have this diary. We'd like to buy it from you. Now, to go back a little bit, just a tad bit, not all the way back. Before the purchase went through, Project Veritas wanted to authenticate the actual diary. So they sent someone to Florida to investigate. And I think part of the investigation was they wanted the single mother to go back into the house, or whoever could access the house, to retrieve other things that may have belonged to Ashley so they could pair it with the diary to make it make sense. Okay, to see if it belonged to her. Also, somebody from Project Veritas, or that was linked to them, or just a person, I'm not sure who it was, they called Ashley on the phone and said, hey, you know what? We have your diary, and it has some pretty sensitive things in it, and it could hurt your father in the election. So we want you to come in. I'm willing to, give it back to you. This is what the New York Times is saying. I'm not sure how that actually went, but that's what they say. But the whole purpose was to get her to come out there to authenticate it. You see what I'm saying? But just by her agreeing, if she did agree to come get it, that authenticated right there. Pair that with the items that they found in the house, it makes sense. She was in the Delray Beach house. She went back to Philly, left a diary. Now you have the federales confirming it, New York Times confirming it. So it is her diary. What's going to be the next thing? I'm not really sure. They're trying to get Project Veritas on charges, talking about, oh, they stole it and brought it across state lines. Project Veritas didn't do that from what I'm reading. From what I'm reading, it was the young lady that was in the house, a single mom, and the guy that she found online. It was them that went from Florida to New York City. From what I'm reading, Project Veritas went to Florida to authenticate it, but they didn't actually take the diary from the house, and they didn't take the diary across state lines. That's the whole thing I want to say now. Oh, they crossed state lines. That didn't happen, but we'll see what happens as a result of all this. It might get buried because, Ukraine is the big thing going on, and the news won't report on it, but you're going to hear it here. I did a video on it last year. This is the follow-up. It is confirmed. We knew that last year. Hunter Biden's laptop is confirmed. We knew that last year as well. But they're just now catching up for whatever the reason may be. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what's happening here, the timing, and all these things happening at this moment? Is it an attempt at the cover-up because you have the shield of the Russia-Ukraine situation? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. We've all known this to be true for a long time. This is not anything new to us, but to those that really want to have everything confirmed and 100% fact checked by the people that get stuff wrong all the time. For those who want that, well, we have it right here. And nobody can sit there and tell us that we're wrong. Here's the evidence. Here's the proof. You got the feds. You got the actual documents. You got mainstream media. Everybody's on the same page. So what is it to prove now? Nothing. We were right from the very beginning, as usual. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.